92.9 FM on K275BS Missoula. It's time for Montana's only daily sports talk show, Nuanez Now. Watch the show statewide on SWX Montana Television.
I like football!
Now here's your host, Coulter Nuanez.
What's up, Montana? Welcome in. 102.9 ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television, and the ESPN MT app. Coulter Nuanez coming to you through the Grizzly Disposal studio here at the Missoula Broadcasting Company. Grizzly Disposal, locally owned, veteran-owned, and the only Bears that should be in your garbage. Plenty to get to today. We're going to start out with the best of the weekend. We had a tremendous time over in Bozeman, Montana. Great haul for the Missoula Broadcasting Company station group. Very proud of all my colleagues, and we got our belt back. We reattained the title here at ESPN MT, so very happy about that as well. So we'll have some fun here right off the top. We're going to share my speech that I gave there at the EB Cranny Awards. Don't worry, it's not one of those long, drawn-out speeches. It's only about 65 seconds long, but then we're also going to share the reel that we put together for our Radio Sports Broadcaster of the Year / Sports Team of the Year. Hayden Smith, Jeff Safford also contributed to this as well, both from a content and production and editing standpoint. So we'll play that for you here right off the top. We're also going to give you some news briefs from the weekend. We found out our Montana Gatorade Player of the Year in softball. We also found out where the top prospect in the state of Montana is going to college. Steele Harris made his decision on social media over the weekend. He is a senior to be at Great Falls High. We also dove into the All-Star season, the 8-man and 6-man All-Star games for all the Class C standout football players were this last weekend. This upcoming weekend will be the Midland Roundtable Montana-Wyoming Classic, which features All-Star teams for both boys and girls basketball playing against All-Star teams from Wyoming for both boys and girls basketball. So we'll have some talk about that today and throughout the week. We're also going to talk some baseball, give you an update on the Missoula Paddleheads as they return home. They have been absolutely road warriors. They played 15 of their first 18 games on the road. That's pretty crazy. But now they're back home for an elongated stretch, and they're rolling along right now. They just completed their first sweep of the season, so give you some details on that. Also, did you see this? Jacob Mizorowski, they call him the Miz, the Milwaukee Brewers 6'7" stud. This dude is throwing absolute flames. 104 miles per hour, actually 103.8, but what's the difference? He's touching the gun like no starting pitcher ever has. Literally, the 12 fastest pitches ever thrown by a Major League Baseball starter have been thrown by the Miz. His start against the Yankees the other night, the Yankees guys, these guys are professional hitters. The Yankees are one of the best teams in baseball. They're looking at this like, is this fake? Is this real life? This ball, you can't even see it. The YouTube highlights is epic. I watched it. I was lifting weights this morning. I watched it in between sets, just laughing at the gym, just looking at the Miz, just absolutely blasting these guys. We'll also have a little diamond time for you coming up about 4:30. We're also going to do a little biography review. I've been it's sort of my biography era. That's what I've been reading a lot of. And I just read an utterly captivating biography about Gorgeous George, who was certainly the most famous wrestler of the early era of professional wrestling, but also the early era of television. I think some of you know who I'm talking about. I think most of you are like, who's that? Crazy how legends fade. Gorgeous George was super famous in the late 40s and early 50s. You could argue, other than like the President of the United States and some of the politicians, that Gorgeous George was one of the most famous people in this country during the height of his popularity. And he's not remembered that well now, but he had such tremendous influence on a variety of different people. Muhammad Ali, James Brown, a lot of the pop culture phenomenons that existed in the 70s and the 80s. So we'll talk a little bit about that to wind up hour number one. Hour number two, we're going to talk some football. We'll talk some Grizz. We'll talk some Bobcats, both contemporarily. Grizz got themselves a new defensive tackle over the weekend. So that certainly is a spot of need for Montana. We're also going to hear from a Grizz who is getting yet another opportunity in the NFL. Samori Toure will join us. It's an excerpt from the Deep Ball podcast series, co-hosted by Samuel Akem and Keenan Curran. Toure, when they did this interview, he was with the New Orleans Saints. He got cut the next week. So then I was thinking, well, maybe I won't play an excerpt of that interview. But he signed with Philadelphia today. So he will get a shot to enter his 5th NFL season on his 5th NFL team. So we'll have a conversation with Toure about how things have been going during his NFL career, what it's like to be sort of this fringe guy who's bouncing around between active rosters and practice squads. But he's also got a chance to play with some of the best quarterbacks in football. He played with Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love in Green Bay. He played with Caleb Williams in Chicago. Played a little bit with Bo Nix in Denver. And now he gets a chance to play with Jalen Hurts in Philadelphia. So that's coming up for you, top of the 5 o'clock hour. And also, we'll talk some NBA Finals. One of the most anticipated, I would say this is the most anticipated Finals game since probably the series where the Miami Heat and the San Antonio Spurs played in the finals for the second time when LeBron James was still on the Heat. Tickets are going for over $8,000 to Madison Square Garden tonight. President of the United States is supposed to be there. That could have an effect on everything from tip time to just the logistics around the game. But the game itself is an enormous one. If San Antonio can go to New York and steal a win, I would argue that that is one of the biggest playoff wins of the 21st century in the NBA. If the Knicks can win tonight, San Antonio's back is all the way against the wall, and we might be in line for a sweep. So who would have thought that would be the case? We're also going to touch on some Stanley Cup playoffs as well. I was all the way in on Game 1 and Game 2. Then I missed Game 3 because we were at the E.B. Craney Awards on Saturday night. But I got the recap from Ryan Tutel, Hayden Smith, Jeff Safford. They'll have some hockey talk for you later on this week as well. But we'll give you an update on what's going on there. The Vegas Knights won Game 3. They're up 2-1 in this series. That series gets back going tomorrow. So jam-packed show for you here on Nuanez Now. Appreciate you for making some time and hanging out with us here on this Monday. Hopefully you're having a great start to your week. You want to stream it, 1029ESPN.com. You can also find us on the ESPN MT app. You can also find us on Facebook and on Twitch. And please subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you're watching on YouTube, stream it on YouTube. Just click subscribe. It helps us. It's so easy for you. You're going to get push alerts for when the show's going on or archived versions of the show as well. The metadata will be able to tell you what we're talking about and stuff like that as well if you are checking out the archive version. So do us a favor. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. It really helps us out, and it'll help you follow along. If you'd like to be a part of the show, you always can. 406-888-1029. That's 888-1029. What do you want us to talk about? Let us know. 406-888-1029. Text us and let us know. Fun weekend in Bozeman. The E.B. Craney Awards have been going on for more than 60 years. I was humbled and thrilled to accept our Sportscaster/Sports Radio Team of the Year award for ESPN Radio. We have won Sports Coverage of the Year now, I think 8 times in my 9 years at ESPN. We have also now captured either we've captured either outright or as a team Montana Sportscaster of the Year 5 out of the last 6 years, and couldn't do it without the support here. Especially of our producers and the guys that make the behind-the-scenes stuff. Hayden Smith, Jeff Safford, Tommy Evans, they all play a huge role in what we do here at ESPN and at Missoula Broadcasting Company as a whole. We also couldn't do it without our awesome owner, Becky Smith. She's given us an opportunity to still be able to forge forward in a world that is so controlled by corporate influence in the wider world of media. We are still locally owned and operated, and we are so happy to say so. And that is such a key to being able to have a sustainable and thriving business. And that's what Missoula Broadcasting is. And we couldn't do it without her and her vision and the opportunity that she's provided us. Certainly, congratulations to all the other finalists for the E.B. Craney Awards. This is for both broadcast radio and broadcast television. A little bit of a somber note there this weekend because one of the big TV companies in Montana, Scripps Sports, they laid off a whole bunch of people last week. So there was plenty of winners from Scripps, some of whom are no longer employed. So that was sort of a tough pill to swallow. Congratulations to Ace Sourwine over there at KGRZ's, the voice of the Lady Grizz, but also has a daily sports talk show. He was a finalist for Play-by-Play of the Year and for Sportscaster of the Year. And I mean, it's interesting and challenging, but also fun to have a formidable opponent, not just in the state, but in your own town. And Ace does a heck of a job there with his broadcast stuff as well. So, and he was, humble, and it was fun talking to him afterwards, and gracious and all that too. So, congrats to him for being a finalist. And then finally, I thought the highlight for me of the evening, other than Missoula Broadcasting doing awesome and taking home several awards, including the Trail 103.3, taking home Radio Station of the Year. How about that? That's the big dog, right? Like at the Grammys, Album of the Year is what you want to win. At the Cranies, Station of the Year is what you want to win. And the Trail took home Station of the Year. Huge thrill for all the people involved at that station. I've said this before many times on this show, but I've loved the Trail since the day that it was created. When the Trail came out when I was a freshman in college, I'll never forget landing on it on the radio dial when you're just scanning through the channels and just being hooked, thinking it was so cool. And then fast forward to, 21 years later, 11 years later, when I got a job here at Missoula Broadcasting Company. And first of all, as a kid from Missoula, you tell me I'm going to get to work at ESPN Radio in my hometown. I'm already thrilled about this. But then to realize we're sister stations with the Trail, which I have always thought is quintessential Missoula and just the coolest station that this market or this state has, that's always been super cool for me. It's been a great source of pride to tell people that I work there. If you know me, I also work as a sales executive here at Missoula Broadcasting Company. So it's a great thrill to sell the Trail. It's also an easy sell because it's such a great station. But for those guys to sort of get the flowers that they deserve, it was very cool. So congratulations to longtime program director Robert Chase, who just retired within this last year. Also congratulations to Mike Smith, who's the program director there at the Trail. Congratulations to Tommy Evans, who does the afternoons now on the Trail, longtime evening host who's now on the afternoons, and Parker Petticourt, who's new on the Trail, but she's working in production here at Missoula Broadcasting and also handling the evenings now on the Trail. So that was very cool to see them win. But also I was thrilled for Troy Millinger. Troy Millinger has been a play-by-play guy in the high school ranks in Montana for 30-plus years. And he said he won Radio Play-by-Play Guy of the Year. And he said in his speech, he said, hey, this is my holy grail. I've been entering this play-by-play award every year, and I've never won. Well, now he won. So I thought that was really cool. He got choked up during his speech, and certainly it meant a lot to him. So congratulations to him, and congratulations to all the winners from across the state of Montana. Nuanez Now 102.9 ESPN Radio. Here's just my 60 seconds of what I had to say following winning Montana Radio Sportscaster of the Year.
We are in the heart of it. Bozeman, Montana.
Summer's almost here, and there's no better place to spend it than at DBAT Missoula. DBAT's popular baseball and softball camps are back with professional instructors, fun competitions, skill development, and even outdoor field days. And mark your calendars for the DBAT Missoula Summer Slam, the first anniversary block party scheduled for Saturday, June 20th from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Come celebrate with games, prizes, batting cages, giveaways, music, food, and fun for the entire family. Follow DBAT on social media or check out dbatmissoula.com. DBAT Missoula, where grit meets greatness. People have said.
Got a leak in the night pipes giving you a fright. Don't stress, don't wait, call the pros who do it right. Gavlac Plumbing and Heating's on the way. 30 years strong, saving the day. From drips to drains to heat that won't start. Local pros with skill and a whole lot of hard, fast, friendly service. We're ready when you call. Gavlac Plumbing and Heating, we fix it all. Serving your home for 30 years strong. Gavlak.
The Missoula Club in the heart of downtown is world famous for their legendary hamburgers. The Mo Club is also a living museum of history from around the state of Montana. Pull up a stool in one of the most iconic bars in Montana and enjoy a cold beer and classic hamburger while being surrounded by vintage photos celebrating Missoula and Montana's rich sports heritage. The spirit of Montana legends past and present fill the bar. Every bite, every sip feels like tradition. The Mo Club, a true Missoula classic, serving tradition daily.
Blaine McElmurray knows what you can achieve through hard work as an athlete from a small town in Montana. The Troy native rose up to become an All-American safety for the Grizzlies on UM's 95 National Championship team before spending time playing in the NFL. McElmurray has also used those values in his work at McElmurray Homes. Since 2003, McElmurray Homes has helped contract and subcontract some of the Garden City's finest houses. McElmurray Homes is committed to offering quality custom service, quality products, and the best prices throughout any project. And McElmurray Homes is also a proud supporter of high school athletes around the state of Montana. Hey, it's Colter Nuanez from your favorite daily sports talk show, Nuanez Now, and I want to buy you a meal on your birthday at Paradise Falls. If it's your birthday, head on over to Paradise Falls at 3621 Brook Street, and I will buy you a birthday entree. All you have to do is go into the family-friendly Missoula favorite, present your ID, and the entree is on me. Birthday meals courtesy of Nuanez Now at Paradise Falls, a family-friendly restaurant serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner. If it's your birthday, head over to Paradise Falls, Missoula's coolest hotspot.
Hello, Montana. Election day is come and gone, and now the Montana election team is on to the post-election procedures that will make our election results official. Every county will conduct a post-election audit to verify the accuracy of the vote count, then move on to canvassing and eventually certifying Montana's primary election results. Visit votemt.gov for the latest updates and results, and thanks for voting, Montana. This message sponsored by Montana Secretary of State's Office in cooperation with the Montana Broadcasters Association.
It's Nuanez Now on 102.9 ESPN Missoula. Watch the show statewide on SWX Montana Television.
We get out the hardware, we start showing off or bragging about ourselves, and it just goes boop, and auto fires. We'll try it again. Welcome back. Nuanez Now, 102.9 ESPN Radio. I teased that we were going to hear my speech from the EB Crane Awards. Don't worry, this is not some long, drawn-out thing. It's about 60 seconds long. But then we're also going to share our sports coverage of the year reel with you. Some of the news, I mean, all of it is from this last year, so it's sort of a rewind in time, which is fun. You're going to hear from everybody from Marty Warneweg to Samuel Akem to myself and Jeff Safford, Hayden Smith, et cetera, et cetera. But also just sort of an example of the breadth of coverage that we've done here at Missoula Broadcasting and at ESPN Radio. So we'll get right into it. Here is just a couple seconds from my acceptance speech for our Montana Radio Sportscaster of the Year Award.
It's funny that they played the part of the Montana State clip, and I'm wearing a blue and gold suit ordering Bozeman, because we broadcast statewide, and half my audience thinks I'm a Bobcat fan, half my audience thinks I'm a Grizz fan, but I just root for everybody, and we cover Bobcats, Grizz, all the high schools, and everybody in between. So congratulations to everybody that's here. Journalism is still important. We have a quote board in our office that has all these funny things that people have said. Once upon a time, I made the statement, and I stand by it, given a lot of the commentary so far tonight. If I'm going to work for the man, I want to know her, and that's Becky Smith, our great honor. And I'm so happy to be part of independently owned media. Congratulations to everybody that's here. Thank you.
Again, humbled to receive the honor and appreciate everybody that's helped support us along the way. Nuanez Now, 102.9 ESPN Radio, coming to you through the Grizzly Disposal Studio. If you got a construction project going on, you need a construction roll-off box, Grizzly Disposal's got them for you in stock. Don't wait days or even weeks. Grizzly Disposal has 24-hour turnaround times. Give them a call. They can get them to you fast. Visit GrizzlyDisposal.com or call 406-541-7171. 406-541-7171. Grizzly Disposal, the only Bears that should be in your garbage. Here is our award-winning reel for our Sportscaster of the Year award here on Nuanez Now.
We are in the heart of it. Bozeman, Montana, downtown at the Rocket R Bar. Appreciate Rocket R Bar for setting us up. This seems like it's become a yearly occurrence, and that's because of all the success that Montana State football has had. And tomorrow, another opportunity for the Cats to go back to the national championship game, but standing in the way, their arch rivals, the University of Montana in Bozeman, 2 o'clock Saturday afternoon on ABC for all the marbles. And we got nothing but rivalry talk coming your way here for the next 2 hours. I am Colter Nuanez. We appreciate Mike and all the fine folks down here at the R Bar for getting us all set up, and we're going to get you all set up for this awesome rivalry game. We've talked so much about it this week. I'm trying to figure out what the heck I have left to say. That's why we have other people to lean on, certainly. We will have Brooks Nuanez joining us here on the show, breaking down some of his key matchups. We're also going to hear from Caden Dowler. He's a Bobcat captain, a Billings West product, and the Big Sky Conference Defensive Player of the Year. We're also going to hear from Ty Gregorak. Coach Ty coached in 15 of these, 12 on the Grizz side, 3 on the Bobcat side, and he's been on the color commentary calls for Scripps Sports for the last several years, so he'll be my co-host for the second half of the show between 5 and 6 p.m. So very much looking forward to Coach Ty sitting shotgun with me.
This is Nuanez Now on 102.9 ESPN Radio Missoula.
Welcome in. Championship Wednesday tournament takeover live from Idaho Central Arena. I'm Colter Nuanez, and you're listening to Nuanez Now. We appreciate you tuning in, whether you're on 102.9 ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television, the ESPN MT app, or streaming live on 1029 ESPN.com. Appreciate you for hanging out with us. This is the final day of the Big Sky Conference tournament. 2 games. One about at the midpoint. We are just a minute or so into the third quarter here between Montana and Montana State. The Lady Grizz, the story of this tournament after wrecking the bracket, beating Idaho in the quarterfinals, beating Northern Arizona in the semifinals. They're into the championship game for the first time since 2015. Montana State, the juggernaut, the team that's been the team to beat from start to finish during this conference season. Yesterday they won their 19th Big Sky game in 20 tries. They're 29-3 overall. But at the outset of this game, the Lady Grizz, absolutely the team with the upper hand. They were up 15-3 at one point. They were running, they were gunning, they were forcing turnovers, they were shooting threes. Since then, though, Montana State has certainly slowed the bleeding and actually really taken over this basketball game. MSU up 37-27 with about 8 minutes and 30 seconds to go here in the third quarter. So we'll keep you up to date with what's going on in front of us. We'll also catch you up with what's gone on here since we were last on the air. Yesterday we had the women's semifinals in the books. We spent a good amount of time talking about both Montana State's beatdown of Idaho State as well as Montana's upset of Northern Arizona. We also had plenty of preview action of this championship game. But the 2 men's semifinals did not start until after we were off the air. Montana State played Northern Colorado in the first semi, and the Bobcats experienced their first loss in this building since March of 2021. So we will have a new champion in Big Sky Conference men's basketball after the 3-time defending champ Bobcats get beat handily. The final score 72-45. Northern Colorado, a dominant performance. So the 1-seeded Bears, they secured a spot in the championship. And then in the nightcap, another dominant performance. And I think that sets us up for what is going to be an absolute slugfest, an absolute heavyweight fight between number 1 Northern Colorado and the number 2 Montana Grizzlies. But Montana won going away 78-55 over Idaho last night in the other semifinals. So you got 1 versus 2 with no upsets on the men's side. That's exactly how we predicted it. But this women's championship game, only one side's exactly how we predicted it. We thought Montana State would absolutely be here. They have been the team to beat in the Big Sky from start to finish so far this season. Nobody, and I mean nobody, expected the Lady Grizz to be here.
You're listening to 102.9 ESPN Radio, an excerpt of our award-winning E.B. Craney Reel. We're proud to take home Sportscaster/Sports Radio Coverage of the Year. It's our 9th coverage award and our 14th E.B. Craney overall. More from the team. Myself, Colter Nuanez, Jeff Safford, Hayden Smith, and some other contributors here on Nuanez Now. The best of the best from 2025-2026. E.B. Craney Award Reel right here on 102.9 ESPN Radio. What'd you think of the craziness this weekend, Coach? Marty Mornaway in studio with us here on Nuanez Now.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Some of the quarterbacks that you would think would be there are not there. However, let's look at the quarterbacks, right? Matt Stafford, he's the old man of the group that's still in it.
Playing his best ball right now.
First pick of the draft.
He's probably going to be the MVP. He was first pick of the draft.
First pick of the draft. All right, Drake May, second year. He's a young man, right? He was the third pick of the draft coming out. You look at Sam Darnold, third pick of the draft in the first round, right? Jets, Panthers, two horrible places to go, by the way. And then kind of got his way with the Niners and then Vikings, and now he's leading the Seahawks into the championship game. And then you got Bo Nix, 12th pick in the draft, right? And now you got Stidham, who's a fourth round pick. But you look at the guys who got him there, right? First pick of the draft, third pick of the draft, third pick of the draft, 12th pick of the draft. 9 out of 10 quarterbacks come from the first round, and most of them upper first round. Every now and then you're going to get a Tom Brady.
Sure. Or Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts was a second round pick.
Yeah, so, or a free agent that does really well. But Kurt Warner, that type of guy.
Yep.
But that's once in a blue moon where those guys, most of those quarterbacks are selected in the first round. Lamar Jackson, we moved up to get him in the last pick of the first round. But so these coaches are getting fired. They're getting fired. Why? Because they've got a talented quarterback, Lamar, 2-time MVP, and they're not winning enough playoff games. John Harbaugh, who I coached with and coached for, what are you kidding me? He's almost 200
That's
wins. Crazy. He's won a Super Bowl now. It's been more than a decade, right?
Sure.
Probably 11 or 12 years ago, maybe a little longer. And my man Sean McDermott, who we coached together in Philly, with Josh Allen there, just can't quite get over the hump. And his winning percentage is pretty good, just can't get over the hump as far as playoff-wise. So the trigger is pulled when you have a talented quarterback and you're not winning championships. You got to go win those championships with the talented quarterback.
Yep.
Now you put my man from Pittsburgh in there, and I think they just got tired of each other.
Right.
And I think
just time to go, right? 19 years at the helm.
Yeah, McDermott and Harbaugh, same sort of thing.
Totally.
You just get tired of each other. There's some egos involved as well. So, but it's just been crazy week-long situation.
You're listening to 102.9 ESPN Radio, an excerpt of our award-winning E.B. Craney Reel. We're proud to take home Sportscaster/Sports Radio Coverage of the Year. It's our 9th Coverage Award and our 14th E.B. Craney overall. More from the team. Myself, Colter Nuanez, Jeff Safford, Hayden Smith, and some other contributors here on Nuanez Now. The best of the best from 2025-2026 E.B. Craney Award Reel right here on 102.9 ESPN Radio. Colter Nuanez, Ryan Tutel coming to you through the Grizzly Disposal Studio here at the Missoula Broadcasting Company. Your reactions to both Bobby Hauck and Brett Vegan talking about the state of the rivalry. I thought Bobby Hauck was actually pretty forthcoming about the fact that he actually did acknowledge that Montana was behind Montana State in several ways. He specifically cited NIL. And Brett Vegan, tactful but also candid in his remarks, and basically said that at the end of the day, it's all about the players you recruit, particularly the players you recruit from the state of Montana.
I would say both forthcoming, both accurate. And, there's some omissions, right? You're talking about yourself and not talking about the things that you're doing well, maybe not the things that are being done better than you. But I thought particularly the NIL part of that, rising tides raise all ships, right? We know that Bozeman has been the epicenter of the influx of a lot of things into the state of Montana, but certainly one of those is money. And the fact that, you've got Washington Grizzly Stadium in Missoula, and I think that a lot of folks in Western Montana just assume, not just because of the Washington family, but certainly centered around the Washington family, but in general, the resources for the Grizzlies are just going to be better than everybody else. It isn't true now.
No doubt.
And
that's where you have to give Leon Costello so much credit, man.
You do, but also that is not necessarily an indictment on the University of Montana or any of the administrators either. It's really just full credit and good fortune. I mean,
and you want to know who deserves all the credit in the world? The people.
That's right.
The people.
Who decided to rally around and do it.
And that has been, I think, the thing that has been, if you ask me what is the defining factor for what has helped Montana State turn the corner as an athletic department as a whole, it's the omnipresent effort and culture to make people feel as if they are a part of something. And you will go look at their donor wall at the Bobcat Athletic Complex. I think Leon Costello told me there's over 7,500 names on there. You're not just asking 20 or 100 or even 500 of your richest alumni. You're letting everybody that can give you $100,000 to $100 be a part of something. They have a tier on the wall for people that give between $100 and $500, but they get their name on the wall. Yeah. And that's a way more attainable entry point. And I think that's where this thing has been driven forward. The grassroots effort that Montana State has made to sort of shift the balance of this rivalry.
You're listening to 102.9 ESPN Radio, an excerpt of our award-winning E.B. Craney Reel. We're proud to take home Sportscaster / Sports Radio Coverage of the Year. It's our 9th coverage award and our 14th E.B. Craney overall. More from the team. Myself, Colter Nuanez, Jeff Safford, Hayden Smith, and some other contributors here on Nuanez Now. The best of the best from 2025-2026. E.B. Craney Award Reel right here on 102.9 ESPN Radio.
Samuel Akem, Colter Nuanez, appreciate you for tuning in. We're going to get you all set for this spring game here in Missoula. We have a little staggered spring ball going on in the state of Montana. The Grizz put a wrap on it today. The Cats don't wrap until April 26th. They didn't start till after spring break. The Grizz get a couple weeks in before spring break, then they take a break, and then they wrap it up. So we'll have plenty of spring ball talk for you next couple of weeks. We'll do plenty of in-depth preview of this game coming up in the second hour, but I also want to talk with Sammy about a variety of other things. Off-season football across the Big Sky Conference. Got to get his 2 cents on Sac State as a potential FBS independent. This has been certainly a hot-button topic that's been blowing up the internet. We're also going to talk a little high school hoops as well. The Montana Elite Invitational rosters are out, so we'll go through those a little later on in the show. And I also got to get his takes on some NFL stuff as well. So plenty coming your way here on this Friday. You've been doing a ton of content for us at Skyline Sports on your own YouTube channel, the off-season content. So question number one for you. You've had several of the former Big Sky Conference standouts as guests. What have you learned, and who have you been impressed by so far in terms of some of these Big Sky hopefuls that you've had on the channel?
One thing that really, really impressed me was Lan Larson, like how humble he is.
He's so humble, man. That's a fun interview, too.
Yeah, and I tried so hard to get him to, like, talk about himself and talk about his accolades and talk about what he's done and just, give yourself your flowers real quick. And, man, it's just all my teammates. It's just all, the guys around me. He's just really a team guy, and he was a joy to talk to.
Around the Big Sky Women's Hoops, back for another week. Krista Redpath joining us here in studio. How you doing? Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, Colter. I'm doing well.
One of the most unbelievable stat lines I've ever seen. On Saturday, Taylor Chirick for Montana State had 31 points, 12 rebounds, and 11 steals. If that was in a high school game, that would be an amazing stat line. This is a Division I conference game against Portland State. She continues to just do things that I don't think we even consider to be possible. I mean, 11 steals is a crazy number of steals in a single game.
Well, and also she did all of that in 27 minutes. So you think about the fact that if she played a full game where she could have been, but I mean, she just has one speed. It's just a relentless speed of just, her anticipation. She's really stepped into all facets of her game, Coulter. We know she's a top defender, and obviously, those steals are incredible, but she's also a scorer.
Totally.
Nuanez Now on ESPN Radio.
ESPN Roundtable, FCS playoff style. We're checking in now in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Tanner Castora, who covers South Dakota State, joining us here on Nuanez Now. We got a huge matchup. I would say the game of the week in the FCS coming up in Missoula, so figured we get some insight into the Jackrabbits. Tanner, thanks for being here, man. Your background covering South Dakota State.
broke into a national championship, ended up winning 2 of them. So I've been there throughout all of those covering the program. And then the last 2 years, I stayed around all while working on a book that I've been writing titled Stig and the Rise of South Dakota State Football. John Stiglmeyer, longtime head coach of South Dakota State for 26 years, led the Jacks to their first national championship and retired off into the sunset. And him and I had a really good relationship. And so it's kind of his biography / an inside behind the scenes look into the program. So
that foundation is such an interesting part of this whole story. The fact that John Stiglmeyer was there for more than a quarter century. And then even when he handed it off to an alum who played for him and Jimmy Rogers. And then he handed it off to his best buddy in Dan Jackson. It seems like even though there has been a little bit of turnover after so much time without any turnover at South Dakota State, it doesn't seem like it's that much different. I talked to Coach Jackson this morning, and so much of the stuff he was saying about the tenets of the program, I mean, it sounded like I was talking to Jimmy Rogers, and it sounded like I was talking to John Stiglmeyer.
That's exactly how Coach Stig is no longer in the building, but you can feel almost his presence because the foundation that he laid, well, part of those guys who helped build the culture were the assistants. Dan Jackson, head coach at South Dakota State right now, was one of those guys. So you'll hear many times throughout his press conferences or when you're talking to him, a Stigism, if you want to call it that. Like one of them is, your injured players are more important than your healthy players. Those are the guys who are struggling right now, probably mentally more than anything. They can't be out in the field. You need to devote a little more time to those guys and even the guys who will take the field.
That's our reel for our Radio Sportscaster of the Year award. So I'd share that with you. A little trip down memory lane from the last, I don't know, I guess it couldn't be after February 14th. So it's basically February through February. So fun stuff. Got some stuff in there from the 2025 football season, some stuff in there for baseball, hockey, all the other stuff that we cover here at Missoula Broadcasting Company. So congratulations to us and fun to remember. We had a little glitch in the system there, so to get back on track, we're going to dive right into it. It just happens, I didn't tease him coming on the show, but he's here, so I said, come on, we're talking baseball. Sit down. Jeff Safford in studio. What's up, buddy? How you living?
Well, we're not on a bus to somewhere out in the middle of no place for once. So, I mean, we're in Missoula on an off day. We're not at a casino on the Nevada-Utah border. We're not in Marysville, California. We're not in the Bay Area. We're here.
Here we are. Paddleheads, road warriors to say the least. Jeff has covered 18 baseball games so far. 3 of them have been in Missoula. The rest of them have been all abroad. Interesting to analyze the Paddleheads' record because you look at 11-7, you think, okay, compared to how good they've been the last couple of years, maybe that's a little slow start. But then you think, well, they've been on a bus for the entire time, and they're actually 10-5 on the road, which I think if you won 2 out of 3 on the road for any sort of sports team, you're going to take that all day long. And now they get a chance to be back home for 9 straight. So just tell us about sort of the first little while of this season and what's gone well for Missoula.
Well, I think the unique part about the Paddlehead season to this point has been, you talks about it a lot there, it's just been a lot of different opponents for Paddleheads. I mean, in years past, we've seen chunks of games against the Great Falls Voyagers or insert Treasure State opponent here where you see 6 or even 9 games straight against the same team. That just hasn't been the deal this season for the Paddleheads. It's actually the first year dating back to 2021 where this iteration of the PBL started, that Missoula will play every team in the Pioneer League this year, all 11 teams. They already have seen in the first 18 games 5 different opponents. So it's been fun to see a lot of these different road venues and see a lot of these different teams and where the Paddleheads stack up.
Diamond Time, probably presented by DeMorris Automotive. DeMorris Automotive has been family-owned in Missoula since 1958. DeMorris Automotive at 3115 West Broadway. Proud to offer Buick, GMC, and Mercedes-Benz. Oakland Ballers coming to Missoula, so give us a scout on this. The Paddleheads have seen them before, once so far this year down in the Bay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. It was the opening week of the season, opening day. Oakland and the Bay Area has really rallied around that team. To me being a guy that grew up in the Bay Area, it reminded me a lot of going to the old Oakland Coliseum. They have a lot of these fun fans in the stands that are doing a lot of fun chirps to the opponents. A lot of them even came from the Coliseum. Like they do this thing for pitchers when opposing pitchers are warming up. They make like this. They go like with like the pitcher throwing to the catcher, where it's like whoop, woo. It's kind of a funny little deal that they do. And they have the drums and the whistles and the rally towels, and they have a rally possum in Oakland.
Rally possum.
A possum.
That's great.
Yeah, so that was fun to see. And Oakland, though, has been struggling a little bit. They're the defending league champions. They really took one on the chin against Glacier. The Range Riders over there in the Flathead Valley, they get swept by them and lose 2 of 3 against Great Falls this weekend as well. So a team that, having lost 5 of 6 to start the week, defending league champs, they're under 500. And when you're in this 2-half system, when you have to find success in the first half to potentially clinch a playoff berth, if you get yourself behind the 8 ball, from a mental standpoint, you can see teams kind of start to pack it in, knowing that their fate is kind of sealed. So this is a big week for them in Missoula to try to get some wins to get themselves into the fight, because right now they're well off the pace.
Well, the Paddleheads are coming are red hot now after sweeping the Range Riders, their first sweep of the year, and they had a 13-1 win to cap that sweep on the road just a couple nights ago, I guess last night. So give us just sort of the momentum that the Paddleheads bring into this homestand.
Well, I think that some of the games they had against that Range Riders team that has had a good amount of success as well, despite losing the last 3 games, they're still a game clear of the Paddleheads in the standings with 12 wins themselves. A team that in years past they've been in the playoffs the last 2 seasons. You're used to seeing over there in the Flathead Valley a lot of guys with affiliated experience or guys that will head to affiliated ball eventually, a lot of velocity with their stuff. But I think the thing that the Paddleheads did that was the best to see was in that they had a comeback from behind victory in the game on Friday night, where they came back from 4 runs down. They had a big rally in the late innings, and a big part of it was guys just going up there with good approaches. They were running up these counts, a lot of 3-2 sort of counts and 2-out scenarios, fouling pitches off, not chasing stuff, and just having a good approach at the plate and putting a good pro at bat together. And for a young team that's got a lot of new players still cutting their teeth in pro ball, it was awesome to see that. And then just to take advantage of what your opponent's given you. Glacier saw a couple of pitchers on Sunday, walk batters, set up a big inning potentially. A lot of times you see innings kind of fall short, but give the Paddleheads credit. A couple of walks, set up a big rally in the early innings, and they just blew the doors off it and basically just cruised to a series win and a sweep yesterday. They had a 10-plus run lead in the 3rd inning.
Roll along. Diamond Time presented by D-Bat Baseball and Softball Academy in Missoula. D-Bat, the elite batting cages, no matter what level of diamond sport you're playing. Slow pitch softball all the way up through high-level baseball. D-Bat's got a cage for you. They also have an awesome pro shop as well. So if you need anything from cleats to gloves to bats and everything in between, head to D-Bat. We got a couple swing cards for you. 75 swings down at their batting cage. We're going to give you 2 75 swing cards so you can take your buddy, take your kid, take whoever you want. Text us right now, 406-888-1029. That's 888-1029. D-Bat prior to Diamond Time each Monday here on Nuanez Now. So, we're going to get to the exploits of Jacob Izarowski for the Milwaukee Brewers, but I got a trivia question for you.
Okay.
There's been 19 300 strikeout seasons in Major League Baseball history, but there's only been 5 in the 21st century. Mm-hmm. Can you name the 5 guys that have struck out over 300 in the 21st century?
5 guys. Let's see. Well, in the 21st century, I would think Randy Johnson has to be on that list.
Randy Johnson's last 300 strikeout season was actually in 2000, so it's just a matter of you consider that the end of the 20th century or the beginning of the 21st century.
All right. Is Kerry Wood on that list?
Kerry Wood is not on that list. Kerry Wood's high was 283.
Okay. Have to think Justin Verlander is on this list.
Justin Verlander is the most recent player to strike out 300. He struck out exactly 300 in 2019.
Is Roy Halladay on this list?
Roy Halladay is not.
That one surprises me. Shohei Ohtani?
Shohei Ohtani's not quite there.
A lot of strikeouts. Tim Lincecum?
No Tim Lincecum.
Man. Jason Schmidt?
Nope.
Wow.
Max Scherzer for the Washington Nationals.
Should have gotten that one. Garrett DeGrom?
Garrett Cole for the Houston Astros.
All right.
Chris Sale for the Boston Red Sox. And Clayton Kershaw for the Los Angeles Dodgers.
All right.
A lot of those guys you named were close, but they all were just short. it takes not only striking out 10 or 11 guys per 9, but it also takes making all 35 or 36 of your starts, right?
Yeah.
A lot of those guys you name, they miss a start here or a start there.
Felix Hernandez, King Felix, have been right in amongst that list as well. Not maybe in his Cy Young year.
Yep, no doubt. The reason I bring this up is Mizorowski right now has 116 Ks. He is on pace for 299 strikeouts, but he was in the news this last week because he threw multiple pitches of over 103 miles per hour, including touching 103.7, the fastest pitch ever thrown by a starting pitcher in Major League Baseball. Then you go through it, he's got the 12 fastest pitches ever thrown by a starting pitcher in Major League Baseball. You could tell he was all sorts of juiced in his last start. They were playing the Yankees. His first 3 pitches went over 103. The Yankees guys were looking at this like, they can't even see the ball. It wasn't even a swing and misses. They were like just taking strikes. What do you make of this guy? I mean, his face, he looks like he's 11 years old.
Right.
But his body, I mean, he's like 6'7", but he's a beanpole. But man, talk about leverage. This guy throws absolute gas for the Brew Crew.
And it's fun to watch, right? I mean,
it's so fun to watch.
This is such a fun Milwaukee Brewers team. I remember when we were talking at the start of the season, looking at these different teams and divisions, that we were not high on the Brewers at all. But this has just kind of been the story with Milwaukee, where they sell players like Willie Adames from years past, who's batting with the San Francisco Giants just over 200 right now, where they have these high-name players that walk out the door, and you think, well, that's going to be the end of the Brewers. And they somehow are able, through their farm system and other ways, are able to put another good team on the table. And I think Mizorowski is a guy that people were really excited about for numerous years. I mean, when he came through the minor league system, was one of the top prospects in baseball, and had just been throwing gas throughout his time in the minors. Not long, but it's been fun to see how that's translated to Major League Baseball. And when you can just step up on a mound every 5th day, it creates a lot of excitement for game 62 or whatever they are. It puts a little added juice to any time he's out there on the rubber, knowing that he can just throw gas.
Well, it's one of the great stories going on right now. You're right. It's become must-see TV. I mean, in May, he was quite honestly almost perfect. 5-0 with a 0.23 ERA, averaging 14 Ks per 9 innings. So he's just absolutely mowing them down.
Yeah, and then you also have guys like what Shohei Ohtani is doing. Right. I mean, what he has done, through 10 starts there, to me it was wild thinking that Jacob deGrom had put together arguably a better stretch of 10 starts. And I remember that year he had in 21 when he was just going off, when he had I didn't realize it was a .55 ERA, but a .75 ERA through 10 starts where he's hitting a home run in the same outing. I mean, you're talking about like a transcendent talent for the 21st generation with me a few weeks ago. I mean, oh man, it's tough to not think about this guy as something like that. But to see that, and a guy I saw pitch live in New York, Cam Schlittler, there we go. He was out of the Boston region, which is kind of fun. He's this young fireballer for the Yankees, as Boston as they come. Grew up around Boston, went to Boston College, or not Boston College, University of Boston, I believe. Yep. And then he goes to the Yankees, and he throws 99 to 101 every pitch. So it's fun to see a lot of these arms that not only are they finding success, but they throw hard. There's just something about guys that throw 99 to 100 miles an hour.
Diamond Tide, proudly presented by DeMorris Automotive. DeMorris Automotive has been family-owned in Missoula since 1958. DeMorris Automotive at 3115 West Broadway. Proud to offer Buick, GMC, and Mercedes-Benz. Okay, last question for you. Major League Baseball cumulatively hitting 243. That's the lowest batting average for Major League Baseball since the year of the pitcher, 1962. That's the infamous year when Bob Gibson had a 1.12 ERA. And then Major League Baseball said, well, we can't have it be this boring. We got to lower the mound. We got to give the pitchers less of an advantage. Right now, this was as of 2 weeks ago, so this might have changed a little bit. But right now, there are 27 quote-unquote everyday players in Major League Baseball that are hitting below the Mendoza line, hitting below 200.
Yeah.
The catcher for your New York or for your San Francisco Giants, I mean, he's hitting like 143. He's the best defensive catcher in baseball, so you give him a little bit of leeway there. But this is the golden era of the modern era for pitchers, and not the golden era of the modern era for the hitters. What do you make of this? I mean, this is sort of how baseball's been for 150 years, right? It ebbs and flows. Sometimes we're hitting home runs all day long and everybody's hitting 290, and sometimes the pitchers rule the day. But what do you make of sort of this trend and what it means for baseball?
I think a pitcher-driven league and area around baseball is a cool deal. And it's not like we're not seeing some of the individuals not perform. I mean, we're still, when he was healthy, I know he's going to be on the shelf now for a chunk of time. Saw good chunks from Aaron Judge. It's definitely unfortunate that has a rib issue and he's going to be out for a few weeks. Yep. Kyle Schwarber is still doing his thing. He still has 20-plus home runs. Had a little bit of a slow start, but he's gotten things going, along with that Phillies team that's back over 500. But you're right. It goes through ups and downs, and it's still the early parts of the season as well. I mean, we're just getting to the month of June. It could be that some guys will be able to click on and find more success as they get at-bats throughout the course of the season. That always seems to happen in the early stretches of it, where the advantage is with pitching in general. But I think it's kind of a two-pronged thing, where you have a lot of these dominant arms that throw hard and have great stuff. I think it's just that combination of things have allowed these pitchers to have some more success.
Here is a amazing statistic. So in the modern era of baseball is considered from 1903 on.
Okay.
But the pre-modern era dates all the way back to the very, very beginning origins of Major League Baseball, when there was only like 6 teams in the post-Civil War, era. But the Major League record, as it stands in terms of the modern era for strikeouts in a single season, Nolan Ryan, 383 in 1973. That's when the Ryan Express was at the absolute peak of its powers. Nolan Ryan struck out at least 327 guys 6 seasons in a row. Wow. Pretty dang impressive there. And then, oh, by the way, no, he did not throw his arm out. He pitched for 27 years and threw a no-hitter when he was 46 years old. Doesn't get remembered well enough in my mind. But the single-season record for strikeouts in a season, if you go to the pre-modern era, came in 1886 when Matt Kilroy for the Baltimore Orioles struck out 513 batters. That's amazing.
500?
Talk about an unbreakable record. I mean, to put that in perspective, this guy he must have pitched every single...
Well, that was the
inning of his every start he made.
I mean, some of those early season baseball statistics are so wild because they really were. A lot of these guys were like rubber arms, where they were, as you were alluding to, they'd go out there almost every game, almost used more like a pitcher where you see it in softball, where it's like, all right, they pitched last night, that's fine. Go back out there again.
Go back out there again. Matt Kilroy, this happened in his rookie year, 1886. He started 68 games, threw 66 complete games, 583 innings. He was 29 and 34. It's just amazing to think about. 513 strikeouts. That broke the old record of Charlie Old Hoss Radbourne.
What a name that is.
Total
Old Hoss?
Old Hoss.
Oh, yeah.
He struck out 441 in 1884, but Kilroy blew that record out of the water, broke that by 72 strikeouts. Amazing.
I wonder what the radio guys sounded like.
No question, right? Pretty awesome. So, Diamond Time proudly presented by DBAT of Missoula Baseball and Softball Academy, with the best batting cages anywhere in the city of Missoula. Remind me, Hayden, you can just give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. We taking this all the way to the 5 o'clock? Okay, because I couldn't remember how many breaks we had left. We have none for this. We got one more for this hour. Okay, so we'll take a break, come back, and maybe do a little bit more of a history lesson for you. That's next on Change That Dial. Thanks to Jeff Stafford for chiming in. It's Nuanez Now, ESPN Radio.
Les Schwab changed the tire game more than 70 years ago. Today, we still believe you should get more from less. Like more hustle, less hassle. More of the best service around, less of the runaround. Because we include America's best tire warranty in every tire we sell. So you get more unbeatable warranty, less charging you extra. It's why we're more than proud to say, you get more from less.
What do you expect me to say to her? She's getting married in 30 minutes.
We're doing everything we can.
John, can you hear me? John.
Mountain Town Vacation Rental Management, your local partner for vacation rental success. We provide a fully customized hosting experience tailored to your needs and goals. Your home is listed on every major site, helping you maximize visibility and bookings. And our local team is available 24/7 to handle guest needs and booking inquiries. Let us take the stress out of managing your vacation home. Contact us today at mountaintownvrm.com or give us a call at 406-369-3080.
ESPN Missoula Sports Center.
Samori Torre is getting another shot, this time in the city of brotherly love. Hello, I am Hayden Smith. Torre, a former Grizz record-setting wide receiver, signed with the Philadelphia Eagles last week. It will be the fifth team the Portland native has played for as he enters his fifth NFL season. He spent 2016 through 2019 at Montana, setting several single-game and single-season receiving records for the University of Montana during his final year in Missoula. Torre then played the 2021 season as a graduate transfer at the University of Nebraska and was drafted in the 7th round of the 2022 NFL Draft by the Green Bay Packers. Torre signed with the Eagles the same day that Philly shipped Mercurial All-Pro A.J. Brown to the New England Patriots. Torre has played in 23 games and made 2 starts in his pro career while appearing in at least 1 game during 3 of his 4 seasons in the league. He has caught 14 passes on 31 targets for 163 yards and 1 touchdown, but almost all that production came in Green Bay in 22 and 23 when he caught 13 passes for 160 yards and a score. He has caught 1 pass since leaving the Packers. Torre did not play in a game last season with the New Orleans Saints. He also spent time with the Denver Broncos and the Chicago Bears. Torre set Montana's single-season record for catches and yards in a season when he hauled in 87 grabs for 1,495 yards in 2019.
This ESPN Missoula Sports Center is presented by Canyon River Golf Club. This is Nuanez Now on 102.9 ESPN Radio Missoula.
I had a little monologue prepared about Gorgeous George. Guys wrote a great biography about the legendary pro wrestling pioneer, but we'll save that for later on this week. Well, it's now 109 ESPN Radio. Let's just do a quick prep extra. It's probably presented by Farmers State Bake. Farmers State Bake has been enriching the lives of Montanans since 1907. 2 news briefs for you. 1, Tatum Bush is the Montana Gatorade Player of the Year. She is a junior at Billings West High School, and she helped pitch Billings West to the Class AA state championship. She threw 4 complete games in 4 days. I guess 4 complete games in 3 days. She only gave up, I think, a single run, and that helped cap a perfect season. She went 13-0 in the circle, Excuse me, she had 4 complete game shutouts in the state tournament, so dominant for Tatum Bush for Billings West. She also plays first base. She finished her junior year with a 0.69 ERA, a 13-0 record in the circle. She also struck out 172 batters. She also hit .538 with 25 RBI and 7 home runs, and she is the Montana Gatorade Player of the Year. Second news brief. Prep Extra, probably presented by Vertical Raise, the elite online fundraising platform. You want the biggest checks for your high school sports organization or team. Figure out how Vertical Raise can set up your fundraiser for you at verticalraise406.com. Still Harris, Great Falls High senior to be. He committed to Wisconsin. Harris was a dynamic weapon for the Great Falls High Bison last year. Did a little bit of everything. 42 catches, 781 yards, and 7 touchdowns. He also had 40 carries for 460 yards and 5 touchdowns. So you do the quick math there, and that's about 1,250 yards from scrimmage, 12 total touchdowns. He also had 52 tackles and 5 sacks. He's a 6'2", 210-pound athlete that is extremely athletic, especially for his size. And he is the biggest recruit in the state of Montana this year. He chose Wisconsin over the weekend, committed to the Badgers, and he chose the Badgers over offers from Arizona State, where his older brother Reed Harris is currently playing, as well as Cal, Illinois, Michigan State, Utah State, Northwestern, Utah, Arizona, and Montana State. Pretty impressive for a kid from Montana to get an opportunity to play in the Big Ten for Wisco. I have a message into Still Harris, so hopefully we can round him up here sometime this week. One of the books out, 2 coming at you. What are the biggest off-season question marks for Montana and Montana State? And what's Samari Torre up to? He got kept by the Packers 2 weeks ago, but he got signed by the Philadelphia Eagles today. The former Grizz joins us here on the show. Don't change that dial. Keep it right here. 102.9 ESPN Radio.
Life can change in an instant. If you've been hurt in an accident, suffered from medical negligence, or are facing criminal charges, you don't have to face it alone. At Ryan Miller & Coburn, we're here to listen and fight for you. We're your neighbors, traveling across Montana to stand by your side as your link to justice. Real people, real help, right here in Montana. Ryan Miller & Coburn, your Montana attorneys.
DeMorris Buick GMC is ready to help you safely travel Montana's scenic roads in comfort and style. Stop by DeMorris today and test drive some outstanding SUVs. Right now, take advantage of closeout pricing on the exceptionally designed 2024 Buick Envision with models starting at $39,795. Don't miss this opportunity. Go to DeMorris.com to preview our inventory of 2024 Buick Envisions and then pay a visit to DeMorris Buick GMC on West Broadway in Missoula, your family-owned hometown dealership for over 60 years.
Around here, we see a lot of people head out. No matter where they're going, we just make sure they're ready. Before you hit the road, get a pre-trip safety check at Les Schwab Tires. It's free. Plus, this May, save up to $200 on select sets of 4 tires.
If we can't guarantee it, we won't sell it.
Life's about the journey, not the destination, right? Why can't it be about both?
ESPN Radio for Western Montana, KKVU HD3 Stevensville, and 102.9 FM on K275BS Missoula. ESPN Missoula Sports Center.
Samori Torre is getting another shot, this time in the city of brotherly love. Hello, I am Hayden Smith. Torre, a former Grizz record-setting wide receiver, signed with the Philadelphia Eagles last week. It will be the fifth team the Portland native has played for as he enters his fifth NFL season. He spent 2016 through 2019 at Montana, setting several single-game and single-season receiving records for the University of Montana during his final year in Missoula. Torre then played the 2021 season as a graduate transfer at the University of Nebraska and was drafted in the 7th round of the 2022 NFL Draft by the Green Bay Packers. Torre signed with the Eagles the same day that Philly shipped Mercurial All-Pro A.J. Brown to the New England Patriots. Torre has played in 23 games and made 2 starts in his pro career while appearing in at least 1 game during 3 of his 4 seasons in the league. He has caught 14 passes on 31 targets for 163 yards and 1 touchdown, but almost all that production came in Green Bay in 22 and 23 when he caught 13 passes for 160 yards and a score. He has caught 1 pass since leaving the Packers. Torre did not play in a game last season with the New Orleans Saints. He also spent time with the Denver Broncos and the Chicago Bears. Torre set Montana's single-season record for catches and yards in a season when he hauled in 87 grabs for 1,495 yards in 2019.
This ESPN Missoula Sports Center is presented by Canyon River Golf Club. Nuanez Now on ESPN Radio.
This is my son's new favorite song. If you're asking how a 2.5-year-old likes a song from 1980 from Christopher Cross, well, here's how it goes. First of all, my son's obsessed with Toy Story. We don't do a lot of screen time in my house, but he does get to watch Buzz and Woody, and he has his own Buzz and Woody figurines. He thinks they're definitely alive. We put them up on the windowsill every night, and he asks them how they sleep and stuff. But Woody's horse is named Bullseye, and in Toy Story 2, there's a line that Woody says, he goes, "Ride like the wind, Bullseye." That reminded me of this song, "Ride Like the Wind" by Christopher Cross. So I played it for my son on the way to daycare one day, and he's just sitting in the back seat, just absolutely grooving out. He's nodding his head, he's dancing, he loves it. So then we were listening to it on Sunday with Mom and watching him groove out again. But then I was thinking, Christopher Cross is coming to Missoula on Saturday. Christopher Cross is how do you say? He's a very polarizing person, a very polarizing star, because he had that song as part of his smash debut album. It also features the song "Sailing," which was the #1 hit in the country for many weeks. He, like many of the musicians of that time, they used to call it easy listening. Now they call it yacht rock. You either love yacht rock or you hate it, right? You either think that Steely Dan and the Doobie Brothers and Michael McDonald and Christopher Cross are awesome, or you think they're just completely and utterly corny. I actually think they're both. I think it's all awesome and corny at the same time. They're talented songwriters. But I was contemplating, I was like, do you go to... Do I get a ticket to the Wilma? Like, Christopher Cross is so easy listening. Like, it's probably going to be him sitting on a stool playing a guitar. It's not going to be a hype show. It's one that you're going to want to sit down for. And, a lot of his songs, other than "Ride Like the Wind," I could take them or leave them. But I do love that song because it's just hilarious, and it's like a parody of yacht rock almost, even though it's like one of the lead songs of yacht rock. So I'm sitting here contemplating, I'm like, do I get a ticket on Saturday to go watch Christopher Cross at the Wilma just to go to one show? I'm leaning no, but what do you think? 406-888-1029. Is it worth getting a ticket to go to a show at the Wilma just to see one song? 406-888-1029. What should I do? Nuanez Now, 102.9 ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television, and the ESPN MT app. Colter Nuanez coming to you through the Grizzly Disposal studio here at the Missoula Broadcasting Company. Grizzly Disposal, locally owned, veteran-owned, the only Bears that should be in your garbage. Let's tackle a little football. This part of the conversation probably presented by Cash One Pawn. Cash One Pawn, the premier pawn shop in western Montana. Cash One Pawn, also a place you can get quick cash. Just go on down there. They can give you a collateralized loan really quick, no credit checks. They also, they're sort of in the car business now. They got this sweet 1995 Ford truck. I was checking it out last week when I was broadcasting from there. They got some other cars on the lot as well, but it's the firearms, the outdoor equipment, the archery stuff, the camping stuff, the jewelry even, that keeps you coming back for more. You can always shop online, Cash One Pawn. That's cash1 pawn.com. So here's the exercise here. We're not going to get to much of this because I want to play Samori Toure and some of his thoughts on his NFL career, former Grizz. But I think that when I'm asking what the biggest storylines and the biggest questions marks are for Cat and Grizz football, that's a little bit different than what's the narrative around it, right? Like the omnipresent, overwhelming narrative for Montana State is, can they go back-to-back? They won 14 straight games last year and won the national championship for the first time since 1984. They returned Justin Lamson, Taco Dowler, Adam Jones, a whole star-studded linebacker core. By and large, they only had 8 seniors last year. But everybody's talking about how the Cats are going to run the table and they're going to win a second straight. How much pressure does that put on them? Can they do it? That's the number one narrative for Montana State football. For Montana, the number one narrative is, what kind of head coach is Bobby Kennedy? He has been a superb conductor of goodwill across the state of Montana. He has been unbelievable in his public relations and his recruiting and his ability to get out in front of people and be visible and really reignite sort of the public persona of the seat that he sits in as the Grizz head football coach. That's all great, and it's really good for the university. What's he doing on 3rd and 12 late in the third quarter? How's he working when his team has turned the ball over twice and a half and they got their backs against the wall? How's it going when he's coaching in big road games like at Oregon State or at UC Davis or at Montana State? All those, that's the omnipresent narrative, right? I think people around Grizz Nation unequivocally are very impressed with the offseason part of what Bobby Kennedy's been able to put in order. The number one question is, can the guy coach? Can he coach in games? He can coach receivers. He's got a national championship at Texas. He's coached like dozens of guys that have gone on to the NFL during his career. He's had stops at some of the best college football programs in America. But he's never been a head coach, so how does he handle that? That's the omnipresent storyline. But I want to know more about like the intrinsic questions, some of the more detailed questions. I also want to know what you think the biggest question marks are for the Cats and the Grizz. Like, I'll give you an example. For Montana, like 2 of the big question marks are, 1, can a revamped defense with a new defensive scheme and a lot of good returning players, but also a lot of guys who either graduated or transferred, leaving that defense. How does a new-look defense perform? The Grizz have run the same defense for 8 years. It's been a very unorthodox voodoo-style defense. That's not the case anymore. Bobby Houck and Roger Cooper and all those guys, they took that defense to Illinois. Now they're running way more of a traditional-style defense. So the fact they got new coaches on that side of the ball, new players on that side of the ball, and a new scheme on that side of the ball, how does it all come together? That is a huge question mark for the Grizz. For the Cats, the only place they did lose a bunch of talent is on the defensive front and the defensive back end. They had 3 of their best corners transfer to the FBS, and they had 4 senior defensive linemen graduate. So to me, the front and the back of the defense, how does that come in to full view? Who are the players that are going to step up? How does it work with a new but old defensive coordinator with Bobby Daly taking over for Sean Howe? Daly had that job before Sean Howe. So how does that transition work? Those are the type of questions I'm talking about. 406-888-1029. What do you think the biggest questions are surrounding both Bobcat and Grizz football? Text us. One of the big pieces of news for a former Grizz is that Samori Toure extended his NFL career today. Sammy Kim and Keenan Curran have a great podcast, the Deep Ball Podcast, and they basically catch up with guys that are former Big Sky Conference standouts. A lot of these guys have been either former Grizz or former Cats. They've also caught up with a couple other guys that played at other Big Sky schools. Jackson Slater from Sac State, for example, who's now at the Tennessee Titans. So that's sort of the angle, is guys that have gone pro out of the Big Sky, and they sit down with them and they talk to them for about an hour. We're going to be playing some excerpts from this podcast here on Nuanez Now, but I thought this was pertinent. When they recorded with Samori Toure, he was on the New Orleans Saints. They dropped this episode, then a couple weeks later, Samori Toure got cut by the New Orleans Saints. So you're thinking, bummer. So I thought about playing this podcast a couple weeks ago, but then I was like, well, Toure got cut, so he's not in the NFL. Well, now he is in the NFL again. He signed with the Philadelphia Eagles today. So I thought this was great timing. Here is an excerpt from the Deep Ball Podcast. Sammy Kim, Keenan Curran sitting down with Samori Toure.
You're coming up on year 5 in the NFL, bro. Like, how does that feel?
It feels crazy, bro. Honestly, like even this last year, like when people are asking me how long I've been in the league, and I say 4 years, I'm like, damn, it's had a lot of ups and downs, but it's a blessing to be able to say, I've been in the league 4 years. You know, a lot of people didn't think I would make it this far, even me. So I'm just blessed to still be sticking around.
Man, let's touch on that, right? It's not one of our questions, but talk about self-belief and some of the roller coaster of emotions that you feel, right, in the NFL, kind of in your journey. But what has kept you going? Yeah.
I mean, bro, it's a lot. Like, not even just in the NFL, but, high school career, college career too. I had to overcome a lot of, obstacles, not being like the highly touted guy. Like Sam knows this and you know this too, like coming into Montana, like really my only real offer was on a half scholarship, coming to the league.
The half.
Kind of the same scenario, bro. It's like, it's kind of fighting an uphill battle, so like dealing with that in high school and college kind of prepared me for the NFL. I wasn't coming in like I'm the big man on campus and expected stuff to be handed to me. It's just had to work for everything at every level. So I'm just kind of doing what I've always been doing.
And that's been, obviously you've had a journey. You were drafted to the Green Bay Packers initially in the 7th round, waived and signed by the Bears, signed by the Broncos, and now you're with the New Orleans Saints.
Editor's note about this Deep Ball Podcast, a interview with Samori Toure conducted by Samuel Kim and Keenan Curran. Toure was actually cut by the New Orleans Saints about a week after this interview first debuted. Today, though, June 8th, he signed with the Philadelphia Eagles. So he is still entering his 5th year in the NFL, but it is not with the New Orleans Saints. It is with Philly. More from this interview with Samori Toure from the Deep Ball Podcast, co-hosted by Samuel Kim and Keenan Curran, right now here on Nuanez Now.
What would you say you've learned throughout the time, like with all those stops? Like, is there something you learned at each stop? Has it just been a learning experience the whole way? Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I've been learning, at every step of the way. I've always been trying to, just soak up all the knowledge, that I could possibly do. Learned it like the most, I would say my rookie year, just coming in, it's a whole new thing. And I was blessed to be around a lot of not good vets. My rookie year, I was in the Packers, with A-Rod, with Randall Cobb, Sammy Watkins, Alan Lazard, all in my room.
I forgot about all that.
That was like a loaded room to be in, and for them to just kind of put all the rookies under their wing, me, Romeo, and Christian, and just kind of just show us how to work. I heard a lot of stories, even of them telling me that when they were rookies, they didn't have really good leaders and vets. Sometimes it's every man for himself, because they understand that they're drafting dudes to take their job, but, I was lucky to have some really good vets that, taught me a lot.
Nice, man. And I would like to think you had that in college a little bit, but I don't know, right? But kind of touch on some of the differences, right? Now you've been a couple places and you've seen it's not always like that.
Yeah.
College, obviously, everybody's working together. You're working for a common goal. It's a little bit different. When you get to the NFL, it's like everybody's a grown adult, right? You got families, you got wives and kids and stuff like that. Talk about some of the differences of college locker rooms to NFL locker rooms, and even now, that you've been a couple places. What are the biggest differences that you see?
Yeah. So college, bro, you can't really compare it to college locker room, bro, because like it's just a different brotherhood in college, you know. Like football is a brotherhood regardless, but like, you know, just in college, like we had a great room. You know, shout out to Keenan the vet. You know, I gotta give you your due. He was a great vet to us and showed us the ropes for sure. In college, like we're hanging out off the field all the time. You know, like you know, live together. You know, with some of my teammates and you know, always hanging out. So that's just kind of different because like you're always together in college. But in the NFL, it's like you said, everyone has like their own family and their own stuff. You'll still hang out, obviously, outside of the field with like certain guys, but just having everyone together all the time is that's not really the thing. But the locker room in general is like similar, you know, like you know what goes on in the locker room, a lot of jokes. Everyone's coming from different, you know, backgrounds, you know. So that's something that's like so beautiful about football is that it brings everybody together. Like, you know, you got dudes from the ranch in Montana, you got dudes from big cities, you know, in which you would never see or hang out with them if it wasn't for football. So I think it's dope that it kind of brings everybody together.
You're listening to Nuanez Now, 102.9 ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television, and the ESPN MT app. This is an excerpt from the Deep Ball podcast series. Samuel Kemp, Keenan Kern, a pair of All-American Grizz receivers, are the co-hosts. Samari Torre, another former Grizz All-American receiver, is the guest this week. Samari played at Montana 2016 to 2019. He's been in the NFL for the last 5 years. Had a little bit of a scare for his NFL career. Got cut by the New Orleans Saints a couple weeks ago. But as of today, just signed with the Philadelphia Eagles. So his professional career continues, as does this interview.
So you've played with Jordan Love, Bo Nix, Aaron Rodgers, Caleb Williams. Now, obviously, you guys got Tyler Shuck at in New Orleans. But obviously, Aaron Rodgers is the elder statesman of that group, and obviously a future Hall of Famer in that group. Do you see any of Aaron Rodgers and any of those guys that you have played with, like the Caleb Williams, the Bo Nix, the Jordan Loves, like any of the guys that you have seen in some of your stops in the NFL?
Yeah, I've seen like bits and I mean A-Rod's A-Rod. You know he's his own entity. Facts. He's a GOAT. Facts. Like you can't really compare him to none of them. But I've seen bits and pieces of A-Rod and all those players. Jordan Love the most probably, like maybe play wise, just because he was under him for 4 years. So and from everything I heard, A-Rod was a great vet to J Love, something that he may not have gotten when he was coming up with Brett Favre. You know, they had their whole thing going on. So he was like he didn't like that, and he was especially good with J Love. So you can tell just by the way J Love plays, like he watched him a lot with his footwork, with his kind of awkward fading throws off the back, and kind of just doing his own checks when it comes to it. Like he's very similar to A-Rod in that way, but like leadership style wise, it was way different because J Love is more quiet, kind of like preserved almost, but he's still a great leader and he'll speak up when he needs to, but he's not as vocal as A-Rod was. With Caleb was like football wise, you see similarities and you don't even have to play him to kind of realize that, you know, like those clutch moments where you got to just turn into a superhero, avoid 3 sacks, make somebody miss and throw it down the field on the run. Like that's what Caleb does, and that's what A-Rod did very well too, as far as like scramble drill and kind of just making stuff up on the run. Caleb was very similar to A-Rod in that. Bo Nix, I mean, the Broncos, bro, it kind of like, I don't want to say it doesn't count, but like, bro, I was there for
a couple weeks.
Well, yeah, like all right now, I was there for like a month. My bad. Yeah, it's like that's not a lot of time to be with him, but like everything I saw from Bo Nix, he was like professional. He was, you know, I'll say he's similar to A-Rod in the sense that he likes to run the ship and he's not afraid to speak up about like what he sees out there. Like him and Sean have that kind of similar relationship that A-Rod and LaFleur did, where it's not just like, I'm coach, you listen to me. You know, it's like, it's more of a conversation, you know? So I've heard him, you know, not get on Sean, but be like, Like, let's go. I like this out there. I don't like this play that we called. I like this.
Yeah.
So
he's a coach's son.
Yeah, exactly. Like he knows his stuff. And then Tyler, I'll say similarly with the leadership. Like, bro, Tyler was a rookie, obviously, but I came in late in the season and he had only been starting, I think, a couple weeks. But he was already he was breaking down the huddle. He was pulling people to side, like receivers. Hey, I like when you run the route like this. Like, he's just a natural, mature leader. So I saw that similarity with him and A-Rod as well.
You got to see some really good young talent, and obviously, in my book, probably the best arm talent of a quarterback ever. And then some guys that are now established, right, with J Love, just kind of being, I think he's A-Rod Jr., but maybe a little taller, and I don't want to say a little more athletic, but he's super athletic.
Well, tonight, ESPN Radio, SWX by Television, and the ESPN MT app. A excerpt from the Deep Ball podcast, hosted by Samuel Akim and Keenan Curran. Samari Torre, the guest this week, a former Grizz who spent his last year of college football playing in Nebraska. He's then made stops in Green Bay, Chicago, Denver, New Orleans, and now he's headed to Philadelphia. More from this interview in just a minute. Keep those texts coming in. Father's Day just a couple weeks away. We got an opportunity for you to win a pretty sweet prize. We're giving you a foursome to Larchmont Golf Course, as well as a pair of carts. We're also going to give you a gift certificate to the Last Best Golf Company as well. All you have to do is text us about your dad. If you don't have a dad, that's okay. Text us about somebody that's important in your life, somebody that you're going to celebrate on Father's Day. But if you do have a dad, send us a picture or a story, a memory, something that you enjoy doing with your dad, 406-888-1029. All the engagement we get for Father's Day will get you entered in to win a golf package, courtesy of Larchmont Golf Course, as well as the Last Best Golf Co. More with Samari Torre right now.
Want to bring you back to college a little bit, and maybe not back to college, but talking about a lot of our audience is Grizz fans. Yeah. There was a fan, and I've gone to bat. Right, I have argued with Grizz fans I've argued with Grizz fans and Nebraska fans. Yeah. But there was a fan who said, "I don't see Samori as a Grizz after he left," or something along those lines. Right?
Yeah, I think it was something like, I wouldn't consider him like a Grizz legend or something like that because he crazy to Nebraska or
crazy talk. So obviously the question is, do you see those things when they're posted, and what are your thoughts about where home is for you when it comes to your college career?
Yeah, that I don't see a lot of them, but I saw that one because that dude was bold, bro. He tagged me, I respect that part of it. He tagged me at Samori Toure. I said, okay, damn, he's shooting shots. And then I hit Sam about it too because I hit Sam. I was like, do I reply to this? Because I never replied to none of that stuff. But that one, I didn't have me mad or anything. But I kind of wanted to reply and make my case. But my dog Sam went to bat for me in the comments, so I didn't really accept it.
Yeah, maybe just send him a picture of your degree and just
bro, just the stats. You can't really deny that type of stuff. Yeah, but, I guess I can see where he's coming from, especially now with the transfer portal. I think that was the day somebody had transferred from Montana, so he was really mad about that. But he was
in his feelings a little bit.
Yeah. But I look at Montana as my home, bro. That's kind of where I was molded into the receiver that I am. Shout out to the coaches there. Shout out Coach Pease, 100%. Just because. I learned a lot of my craft there, and that allowed me, I came in there, played slot, then switched to outside. I made my name there, and I transferred to Nebraska my last year. And, a lot of love for Nebraska too, because, they were, super supportive of me as well. But, I consider, I was at Montana for 5 years, bro. So that's kind of where I consider my home.
So we get to hear it from the horse's mouth directly. Yeah. What led you to leave?
There's no love lost to, Mr. Colorado or whatever his name is, but just look at the stats, bro. Come on now.
What would you say led you to leave Montana? What was the nail in the coffin for you, really?
The nail in the coffin was COVID for sure.
Yep.
I was ready to stay there because I had thought about it earlier, right after my junior season.
Because I don't know about that.
Yeah, because I could have graduated early and then went straight to somewhere else and played that 2020 year. But I wanted to just finish it out at Montana. And we were under the impression that we were going to play in 2020 for that season. Yep. So when right before the season, we realized that we weren't going to have a season and they were maybe going to play in the spring, that's kind of when I decided to pull the trigger. Hoping I could just get somewhere right away and play. But, I had to sit out that whole 2020 year, which was weird because it was my first time not playing football since I was, however old, third grade. So
legit.
That was kind of what pushed it.
That gives us a lot of kind of insight into that. And I think I kind of had an idea that it was that COVID year that threw everybody off, I would say. And it just gives you more time to think. And I think more time to think in a position that you were in coming off the season that you just had.
Exactly. Because I was also thinking about declaring also. Yeah. And I had a conversation with Coach Houck. I was like, look, if I get that Senior Bowl invite, I'm just gonna declare now because it can kind of give me a better platform, to kind of, show. Because I felt like in my head, the only thing that, NFL scouts would say is that we haven't seen them against FBS competition. Like we haven't seen them against the best of the best. And even though I know and we know there's not that big of a difference between FCS and FBS when it comes to skill positions, like receivers and DBs, there's not that big of a difference. And I noticed that when I played. But I didn't think that scouts, and I still don't think scouts see it like that. Like they'll use anything they can to kind of dock you. So I feel like they would be like, well, he's good. He was an All-American, this and that, but he didn't play against nobody. So in my head, I'm like, okay, if I get a Senior Bowl invite, I can get the reps against those top guys. But I didn't end up getting that. So I said, the only way to get that opportunity is to go play at that level.
I don't know if I asked you. Let me get into this real quick about the portal. Now that we're on the portal, I don't know if I asked you this when I had you on my main channel, but I do want to ask, like, all these kids jump into the portal and they think it's sweet and all that stuff. Like, you were in the portal. You know what it was like. You know what those calls look like. What was it like in the portal for real, for pre-NIL?
It's funny because I was kind of looking forward to it a little bit. Yeah. Because when I was in high school, I didn't get that recruitment attention, like. Yeah. It wasn't like, I'm getting these letters in the mail, I'm getting these in-home visits and all that stuff. Like, I wasn't getting that. So when I hit the prom, like maybe this time, coaches will show a little love, this and that. But when I got into it, I realized, I wasn't missing out on anything. Like, because with recruiting, it's like you don't know who's telling you the truth. You don't know who's lying to you or kind of making things sound better than they are. And it was tough too because, like I said, it was that COVID year. So a lot of teams like had me on their radar that I always wanted to, like Oregon, Miami, Baylor. Like it was a lot of big school, Tennessee, that were like hitting me up like, yo, like we want you. But since everybody got another year, they were like, well, I don't know if this guy's leaving or he's staying. So like if he leaves, we got a spot for you. If they don't leave, then what are we going to do? So a lot with that, dudes ended up, staying, but I ended up going with Nebraska just because they like were really communicative with me. Like they're like, well, we need a guy, and I saw that it's a, Power 5 conference, and I saw an opportunity for me to, make a difference right away. But it was crazy. I was looking forward to it, and I ended up being like, I don't miss that, and I didn't miss out on anything. Like, I just want to be where I'm going to go and get to business.
Man, that is, especially now when people hear about the portal, they just think, hop in, everybody wants you. And it's like, these are guys, I mean, we've talked about guys in the portal. You're like, man, why are you jumping in the portal? Like, the kids now, you're like, what are you doing? You just came off a season where you had like 12 catches. Why are you in the portal?
But you didn't even play. Why are you?
Yeah, exactly. But then to hear you were like elite.
I was an All-American. This phone really ain't.
Hey, you guys got my number?
I have the wrong number listed.
Yeah.
Man, that is funny.
You bring up a good point, though. It was a weird time with like all the guys returning, not returning. That definitely makes no sense.
But like, I would argue the worst, right? Because it's like pre-NIL, so you couldn't get the bag that you were due. right? And then guys got an extra year. So it's like, if anybody was in the portal and probably the hardest time, it was you, right? And you came out on top of it. So and you made that jump to play against better competition. And my goodness, did you play? Boy, you played. Like, it was, and that's probably the question that I wanted to ask is, like, did you feel any responsibility to prove your stuff just for FCS guys? Like, man, I'm an FCS guy, but, like, I'm a guy.
Yeah, 100%, bro. Because especially after, like I said, my phone wasn't ringing like I wanted it to. One team, too, especially Oregon State, because I grew up, I loved Oregon State. My whole family's Oregon State fans. And they weren't, like, necessarily, the best team when I was in the portal, but I was like, and I had, my homie Jaden Grant played there too, and he was kind of putting in work with the coach to try to get me there too, but it didn't end up working out. So, like, them and just everyone else, I was kind of like, I was playing with the chip on my shoulder for sure to show that, FCS guys can ball out at the next level.
Appreciate Samuel Kemke and Curran for providing that excerpt from the Deep Ball podcast. Fun to hear from Samari Torre, former Grizz, now with the Philadelphia Eagles. Thanks to our friends at Cash One Pond. Cash One Pond has the premier firearm selection in Western Montana. Shop online, Cash One Pond. That's cash1pond.com. NBA Finals, a much anticipated Game 3 tonight in New York City. We got the scoop and the analysis. That's next. Keep it right here at 102.9 ESPN Radio.
Around here, we see a lot of people head out. No matter where they're going, we just make sure they're ready. Before you hit the road, get a pre-trip safety check at Les Schwab Tires. It's free. Plus, this May, save up to $200 on select sets of 4 tires.
If we can't guarantee it, we won't sell it.
At Shields, we're anglers, endlessly seeking and refining techniques. We're hunters and storytellers, because we've been out there. We're experts that put products and gear to the test, so we can share that knowledge with you. At Shields, we understand your outdoor journey and the path you're on, because we walk it too, every step of the way. Shields, right there with you.
Mountain Town Vacation Rental Management, your local partner for vacation rental success. We provide a fully customized hosting experience tailored to your needs and goals. Your home is listed on every major site, helping you maximize visibility and bookings. And our local team is available 24/7 to handle guest needs and booking inquiries. Let us take the stress out of managing your vacation home. Contact us today at mountaintownvrm.com or give us a call at 406-369-3080.
The rare moments in life, they're not just few and far between. They're meant to be treasured.
Bring the whole family to the Stone of Accord for a wonderful brunch. From traditional comfort food to eclectic specials, there's something for everyone to enjoy. And it wouldn't be a proper Missoula brunch without an Irish coffee and a mimosa. The Stone of Accord, Irish fare with Montana flair. Restaurant, liquor store, and casino. At the Stone of Accord, we use the freshest ingredients to create our homemade traditional Irish classics, fresh salads, and creative specials. Come enjoy our warm, family-friendly atmosphere. The Stone of Accord, Irish fare with Montana flair. Restaurant, liquor store, and casino.
Samori Torre is getting another shot, this time in the city of brotherly love. Hello, I am Hayden Smith. Torre, a former Grizz record-setting wide receiver, signed with the Philadelphia Eagles last week. It will be the 5th team the Portland native has played for as he enters his 5th NFL season. He spent 2016 through 2019 at Montana, setting several single-game and single-season receiving records for the University of Montana during his final year in Missoula. Torre then played the 2021 season as a graduate transfer at the University of Nebraska and was drafted in the 7th round of the 2022 NFL Draft by the Green Bay Packers. Torre signed with the Eagles the same day that Philly shipped Mercurial All-Pro A.J. Brown to the New England Patriots. Torre has played in 23 games and made 2 starts in his pro career while appearing in at least 1 game during 3 of his 4 seasons in the league. He has caught 14 passes on 31 targets for 163 yards and 1 touchdown, but almost all that production came in Green Bay in 22 and 23 when he caught 13 passes for 160 yards and a score. He has caught 1 pass since leaving the Packers. Torre did not play in a game last season with the New Orleans Saints. He also spent time with the Denver Broncos and the Chicago Bears. Torre set Montana's single-season record for catches and yards in a season when he hauled in 87 grabs for 1,495 yards in 2019.
This ESPN Missoula Sports Center is presented by Canyon River Golf Club. It's Nuanez Now on 102.9 ESPN Missoula. Watch the show statewide on SWX Montana Television.
Landmark day in college sports, and I don't mean that in a good way. Welcome back to Nuanez Now, 102.9 ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television, and the ESPN MT app. Colter Nuanez coming to you through the Grizzly Disposal Studio. Grizzly Disposal has one bin recycling that can pick it up for you at your house twice a month. Want to make the switch to Grizzly Disposal or add the service or both? 406-541-7171. Grizzly Disposal, the only Bears that should be in your garbage. A judge's decision to rule Texas Tech quarterback Brendan Sorsby eligible on Monday morning roiled the college sports world, with reactions ranging from doomsday predictions to informal chatter about Big 12 schools attempting to not play Texas Tech this season. The reaction around college sports was nearly unanimous, with the idea of Sorsby playing in 2026 after admitting to making thousands upon thousands of bets on sports, including 40 on his own team, representing the latest crossroads for an industry that's faced a dizzying number of accusations in recent years. ACC Commissioner Jim Phillips told ESPN the ruling represents a horrendous pattern that is eroding the integrity of the collegiate process, end quote. A Big 12 AD told ESPN that they are, quote, disgusted, and added, "We officially lost our soul," end quote. TCU coach Sonny Dykes told ESPN, "How is anybody ever going to trust the outcome of a game again?" If you haven't followed this, Brendan Sorsby got busted for gambling on a variety of different sports, thousands upon thousands of sports bets. That itself is tenuous at best. He also admitted to betting on Texas Tech football 40 times in games that he is the quarterback in. That's crazy. Like when there was the gambling scandal in the NBA, where Tim Donaghy was charged and subsequently convicted of refereeing NBA games that he was betting on, Tim Donaghy went to federal prison. That was one of the most outrageous scandals in pro sports history, and the NBA, rightfully so, said, SOS, we got to fix this. If there is questions about the integrity of our game, we have to squash this like a bug. You've seen this in the NBA recently. Terry Rozier, busted for point shaving. He's probably going to go to federal prison. He is never, ever, ever going to play in an NBA game again. Brendan Sorsby admitted to all of this, and he's just going to play. It's completely mystifying. I think there's two sides to every story. I think every sword has two edges on it. I can find at least some nuance to the other side of the argument for almost everything. There is no other side of this argument to me. This is crazy. How on earth can the kid get busted for sports betting, including on games that he has played in, and be allowed to have no consequences? The judge ruling on this basically said that Sorsby is getting reinstated to protect him from hardship. What? That's like, this is so wild, man. Like, I wonder what the ghost of Pete Rose thinks of this. Like, it's totally out of control. It is a completely sad day, and everybody that is talking about this openly about how this is a clear violation of NCAA policies and ethical guidelines is correct. There is no other side to this. Utah Athletic Director Mark Harlem said in a statement, "We are all committed to supporting student-athletes' well-being, but we also must have a definitive path forward that preserves the basic tenet of competitive integrity within college sports." I mean, that is as succinctly and as accurately as you can say this. You can't have sports where you're watching this and you're wondering if, when you're watching Texas Tech versus Oklahoma, you cannot be wondering if Brendan Sorsby bet in this game, especially if he bet against his team. All the evidence is that he bet for his team, but still, you cannot bet on your team when you're playing in the game. Can't do it. You can't be watching a game and wondering, man, did he just throw that pick because the defense read it really well, or did he just throw that pick because it was a mistake, bad weather, or did he just throw that pick because he knows he's going to make $2 million off of it? This is doomsday if this becomes a trend. I hope this is not a precedent that then gets used, but if this is a precedent, now you got it. So basically, let's say somebody else somewhere else just starts gambling on games that they're playing in, and they get caught, and they use the Brendan Sorsby precedent. It's terrible. The existence of sports betting is just so tenuous. Sportsbet Montana is great friends of ours here. They are a big sponsor of this show, and so we have to tread a little bit lightly here, but also, like, I understand the perils. I also am somebody that actively sports bets, but I'm also a 39-year-old dad that lives in Montana. I'm not the quarterback for Texas Tech. So I'm not trying to get on my moral high horse here and say you shouldn't sports gamble or that I shouldn't sports gamble. You can't be playing in the game that you're betting on. That can't happen. Can't happen. That's where the Shohei Ohtani thing got so messy, but then also how they were able to basically get out of it unscathed because he just scapegoated his agent, his interpreter, said that guy made all the bets. I don't know. I have nothing to do with this. I don't know, man. As Florida's Scott Strickland told ESPN, as someone who grew up reading about the Black Sox scandal and seeing what happened to Pete Rose and just understanding how bright that line seemed to be in all of American sports, I'm stunned that there could be a question at the court level that this is acceptable. Strickland went on to say that's not a judgment on the young man. It's just that it's a pretty fundamental tenet of American sports that if you're going to participate, you cannot gamble, especially on your own team, end quote. Exactly. It's a sad day for college sports. It's a happy day for NBA fans. Can't wait for the next game of the NBA Finals. We'll talk about that on the other side. Don't change it down. Keep it right here. 102.9 ESPN Radio.
Bring the whole family to the Stone of Accord for a wonderful brunch. From traditional comfort food to eclectic specials, there's something for everyone to enjoy. And it wouldn't be a proper Missoula brunch without an Irish coffee and a mimosa. The Stone of Accord, Irish fare with Montana flair. Restaurant, liquor store, and casino. At the Stone of Accord, we use the freshest ingredients to create our homemade traditional Irish classics, fresh salads, and creative specials. Come enjoy our warm, family-friendly atmosphere. The Stone of Accord, Irish fare with Montana flair. Restaurant, liquor store, and casino.
Access to Montana's great backyard is the best part of being a Grizzly. At the University of Montana, our classrooms are the mountain peaks, river valleys, and never-ending plains of the Big Sky Country. We provide students with the hands-on training to protect and enjoy hunting, conservation, and stewardship. UM launches the careers of outdoor leaders so that they can protect our traditions and ensure they are passed down for future generations. Because what's made in Montana is remaking the world.
Why would any business let you use their product and give you 365 days of reassurance? Mattress Firm does because they believe in their mattresses. Save on top brands like Nectar, Tempur-Pedic, Beautyrest, Serta, Stearns & Foster, and others. Mattress Firm carries $149 mattresses all the way up to the luxury Purple Rejuvenate Premier. 0% in payments as low as $39 a month, along with 365 days of reassurance. See why Mattress Firm is Montana's best place to find the sleep you deserve.
Mattress Firm, where it's easy to get a great night's sleep.
Mountain Town Vacation Rental Management, your local partner for vacation rental success. We provide a fully customized hosting experience tailored to your needs and goals. Your home is listed on every major site, helping you maximize visibility and bookings. And our local team is available 24/7 to handle guest needs and booking inquiries. Let us take the stress out of managing your vacation home. Contact us today at mountaintownvrm.com or give us a call at 406-369-3080.
Nuanez Now on 102.9 ESPN Radio Missoula.
Welcome back. 102.9 ESPN Radio. You're missing the show. You can always find it on the Nuanez Now podcast, which is available on all your various podcast hosting platforms. Please rate, review, subscribe. Appreciate you for hanging with us. Colter Nuanez coming to you through the Grizzly Disposal studio here at the Missoula Broadcasting Company. Game 3 of the NBA Finals right around the corner. This part of the conversation presented by Sportsbet Montana. Knicks are 2-point favorites tonight. Seems a little low considering they won Game 1 and Game 2, but also I think Vegas and the betting odds also think that the Spurs aren't going to get swept, so at some point they have to win one of these games in New York. This is the first NBA Finals game in New York City in over 25 years. I don't know how you're going to win tonight. I mean, you can think whatever you want. The President of the United States, he's going to the game tonight. That's a rare occasion, I think, for any of the presidents of the United States. Tickets started off at $11,000 for this. Then they dipped, quote unquote, all the way down to $5,500 to get in the door. Basically settled around $8,000 to get into the door at Madison Square Garden tonight. Josh Hart, who's a forward for the New York Knicks, was very critical of this. It's a great stat, courtesy of our good buddy Ian Laird, who's the voice of the Montana State men's and women's basketball teams on the ESPN Plus streams. Ian texted us today. He was saying Josh Hart being critical of the $8,000 ticket prices is hilarious because Josh Hart makes $8,300 a minute. That's what his salary was this year. Per minutes played, $8,300. Pretty good job. The money in the NBA right now is absolutely crazy. But when it comes to this game, I truly think that if the Spurs win this game, it is one of the biggest wins in the NBA playoffs of the 21st century. I also think if the Knicks win this game, it's also an enormous win, and it is their biggest playoff win in 30 years, probably 28 years, since 1998, when Larry Johnson, Grandmama, had the 4-point play to help them boost the Knicks into the NBA Finals. You can't overstate the magnitude of this game, and that's why I'm so excited for it. Keys to the game tonight, Karl-Anthony Towns has had one of the most surprising career resurgences I can ever remember. Towns was considered one of the most disappointing number 1 picks in the history of basketball, and then was considered to be fine but not great. And when the Minnesota Timberwolves traded him to New York, people thought that the T-Wolves won just by getting rid of Karl-Anthony Towns. He's been unbelievable in this playoffs, and he's been perhaps the MVP of this series so far. He has held his own and then some against Victor Wembanyama, and that is no easy task. He's completely flustered Wemby. Can Cat keep doing it tonight? If he can, that's going to go a long ways to New York continuing to be in complete control of this series. If Wemby reemerges, I mean, Wemby basically, we'll see what happens in the future, but the way Victor Wembanyama dominated Rudy Gobert in the Western Conference semifinals and Chet Holmgren in the Western Conference finals, that might have long-lasting mental ramifications for those two guys. That's how bad he dominated them. If Wemby can get back and somehow take that mental edge back from Karl-Anthony Towns, that's going to be one of the keys of the series. Most got my eye on Dylan Harper. I know he's the sixth man for the Spurs, but I think he's the second best player on that team. I think he's one of the best players in the league. I think he's one of the best young players the NBA's seen in a long time. He's only 20. He's an absolute dog. Can he really, truly look like a true number 2? And if that's the case, then does that help everybody else fall into place? Because if Stephon Castle's your number 3, you're pretty dang good. If Vassell is your number 4 and De'Aaron Fox is your number 5, you're so talented. On the Knicks side of things, how's Jalen Brunson's knee? Jalen Brunson tweaked his knee in Game 1. He then proceeded to still score 31 points. He was a lot less prolific in Game 2. He still scored 20, but he's going to have a whole army of people behind him tonight. That army of people is going to be all behind the Knicks. And can San Antonio handle the environment? That's going to be a huge storyline as well. I can't wait. I can't wait for this game. Can't wait to see if San Antonio can rise up and make this a series or if New York's just going to keep on cruising. The Knicks have won 11 playoff games in a row, and they've done it with the largest margin of victory ever for a playoff team. It's going to be a really, really fun game from the Big Apple. We'll be back at tomorrow. Ryan Tutel hanging out in studio with us. We'll see you then. Thanks so much for doing it here today. Nuanez Now June, ESPN Radio.